I'm starting to freak out. The semi, like, I'm on this conference call. People are getting passionate. And my daughter, I'm like, told her for the 100th time, when you change lanes, don't slow down.
Hi, my name's Devin. Today I own several multi-million-dollar companies. We started with $5,000 in a credit card. I don't know the easy way. I only know the hard way.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Whiteboard Entrepreneur Podcast, where I give straightforward advice to fuel the entrepreneur in all of us. I'm Devin Dickinson. Today I want to tell you a story. And this story happened last Friday. So let me preface it with, I have a 15-year-old daughter. My youngest is learning how to drive. And she's quite self-confident. And she would tell you what a great driver she is. And actually, she is doing pretty good, right? But as most parents, you know, even probably as I've said these words to you, probably your blood pressure rose as I was just even telling this story. Well, Friday rolls around and we're going to the other side of town. And so I live in Phoenix and you got to take this 1017 interchange. We're all the way on the far southeast valley, and we're going to go to the northwest side. So this particular drive in Phoenix is quite stressful. Luckily, she wants to do it at 4:30 in the afternoon on Friday. Couldn't be a worse time. Anyways, so I'm like, okay, you know what? I think you're ready. And in my mind, I get myself set. I'm like, I'm gonna drive with you. It's gonna be no problem. Well, in parallel, I also have something going on at work that I thought I had just solved. And it was this big project that we've been working on for a few months, and we're trying to get this thing launched. And we're like right at that 95-yard line, and we keep having these speed bumps that keep us from launching. And, you know, it's been a matter of contention at the office. Like, come on, we got to do this. We got to do this. We got to do this. And so I told everyone, I said, hey, do this, and this. And I said, I'm done for the day. I'm going to drive with my daughter across, you know, the state or across the city. And hey, call me if you need me. Thinking there's no way they're going to call me. They got this solved. Well, anyways, we're getting in the car together. My daughter's, you know, adjusting her mirror. Sure enough, I look down and my phone's ringing. I'm like, oh no. It's this call. And I'm like, okay, I can handle this. I'm able to separate work from family. Even though I'm going to take the call while she's driving, I'm able to keep myself under control. I can give her some direction, focus while I'm, you know, working through this conference call on the other line. No big deal. Well, that's not exactly how it went down. I'm driving and I have the conference call going on in this ear. My daughter is driving, and I'm like watching out of the corner of my eye. I'm like, hey, make sure you check your blind spots. You know, I'm like covering up the thing, going on mute. Make sure you check your blind spots. And then, oh, nothing. Sorry. Yeah. Do this, that. No. And I'm trying to juggle these two things, right? Like my daughter is starting to make some mistakes as she's driving. I'm starting to freak out. The semi, like, I'm on this conference call with people, and I'm like, you know, getting heated on the conference call because we're trying to get this thing done, and there's some opposing views and people are getting passionate. And my daughter, I'm like, told her for the 100th time, when you change lanes, don't slow down, right? And I already told her, and I'm like, I said, you did it again. And then I'm talking to these people and I'm yelling at my daughter. I'm starting to yell at these people. By the end of it, like I freaking blow up, right? I totally snapped at somebody on the conference call, which, by the way, he was right with what he was saying. He was right. And I snapped. And anyways, and then I also just blew up on my daughter, like put on mute and blah, 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 yelled at her. Tears coming down her face. We're on the freeway. She's crying. I yelled at someone on this conference call, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what have I done? I thought, I'm like, I've done business forever. I can separate. I can, deal with this and deal with that. But what happened to me was I started to get this magnified picture of how we often think we're invincible. And we often think that this side, our personal life and our professional life, we can keep them separate. We're big boys. We're big girls. We're pros. We can have a stressful day at work and go home and be a great mom or dad. Well, let me tell you, this did not get me Dad of the Year. I will also tell you, it did not get me, founder of the year either, right? Like I had these people mad at me and my daughter mad at me. Like I was not good. And it's because what I should have done is I should have just stopped. And I should have recognized what was going on, that this side was affecting this side and this side was affecting this side. And as I tell you this, you can probably think about times that you went home and you absolutely snapped at your spouse, or you blew up on your kids, or you went into the office because you had stress going on at home. And sometimes the home stress is way worse than the office stress. And you carry that over to this other side and you don't treat this side fairly because what's going on with this side. So let me tell you how this story ends, because I think it's important in this whole lesson, because luckily I had this moment of clarity. And the clarity was this: Devin, you're being a huge jerk. And I was like, immediately realized that no, this wasn't my daughter's fault. This wasn't the people on the phone's fault. This was my fault. But here I am, like, who's the leader, right? I'm the leader at work. I'm the leader with these folks. I'm the leader at my home. Nobody can say anything to me because I'm the leader, right? So I could have just literally hung up and been like, well, you need to drive better and you guys need to do what I tell you and shut up, right? And I think we do that a lot of times, like this arrogant, egotistical side of like, we always have to be right. When really I realized, wow, what a jerk I'm being, a terrible leader, terrible father, and I need to make this right. And so I while we're still on the call, I actually texted the guy that I snapped at and said, I want to tell you directly how sorry I am. I should not have snapped at you. And then I thought at first I was fine. And then I thought, you know what? I actually bit his head off and snapped at him in public in front of, other people. And so we solved the problem. And ironically enough, guess who was right? The guy that I snapped at actually is the one who had the solution for the problem, right? If they listened to me, we would have been wrong, right? But the guy that I snapped at is the one that actually had the solution for the problem. Anyways, at the end of this call, I said, hey, everyone, I want to stop. I said, and let you know, I'm driving with my daughter. I'm super tense right now. This person did absolutely nothing for me that deserved me to snap at him. And even if he did, I should never behave that way. I was way out of line in public, and I want to publicly apologize to him. And I want to apologize to everyone on this phone call, because it was not right. My behavior was unacceptable, and I want to publicly apologize. And I let, some stressful things in my personal life affect my business life, and I am extremely sorry. And hung up the phone, and then the same thing with my daughter. And I stopped and said, listen, you're learning how to drive. You're doing a great job. I apologize. I let this stuff in my my business affect my family life. I'm sorry. This was my fault. This wasn't your fault. Check your blind spots, but this wasn't my fault. This was my fault, not your fault. And I want you to know that what I did was wrong, and I'm sorry, and please forgive me. And it was a great moment. Like, I felt like we actually bonded, as a father and a daughter. It reminded me so much that we have this idea that we can be so stoic and we can separate these things, when really at the end of the day, like, we need to be honest and we need to set the right examples. And so I think by going, now listen, me snapping and apologizing still doesn't make things right. But I think what it did is, I believe, or at least I hope, that me being transparent and saying, listen, guys, I had some things going on in my personal life that is affecting this. I apologize. But also learning from that personally, that, like, listen, when I have stuff going on, like, I can't pretend that I can come in here and make a great decision. I can't pretend that I can come in here and be the leader that I need to be. There are some times when I need to walk in and say, guys, today's not the day for me. You guys need to do this without me today because I'm not in the right state of mind. I'm not doing, I'm not leading you the way that I should. Or, hey, let's postpone this meeting because full transparency, I've got some stuff going on and my head's not there, or I'm not making good decisions. Please forgive me, but let's reevaluate. And not just me, but I want everyone to have that type of transparency. It wasn't too long ago when someone came to us and said, hey, listen, some stuff's changed in my life, my meds and whatever, and I'm not on my meds, and I need to take 2 days off because I'm not operating the way that I need to be. And I think that honesty, that ability to have transparent, real conversations is what's needed to keep a healthy, drama-free workplace where people can treat each other well. And then also to be able to set the examples and say, when you're wrong, and own that and be the leader and own that. And then on the family side, and this sometimes is even harder, right? But to go home and be the father or the mother of your family and be able to say, hey, I haven't been right. It's not you. It's not the family. It's me. I have stuff going on and I'm not treating you correctly. I'm not making the right decisions. But we want to present this bulletproof, invincible armor, and we'd rather be a jerk or rather treat everyone wrong than be vulnerable enough to say, hey, I have stress in my life and it's making me act and behave in a way that's unacceptable, and I apologize. And I think this starts with the recognition, like recognizing that you're not bulletproof, that you have all of these different facets in our lives, and they can't totally be separated, nor should they. And in 2023, you can't do it. You can't physically do it. But being able to be confident, transparent, enough and vulnerable enough to be able to recognize yourself and to allow others around you to say, hey, please forgive me because I have this going on. And by the way, it doesn't mean that we stay there. Like, this is not some cosmic excuse, some cosmic wild card that you can just throw down and say, well, I'm allowed to treat everyone at work like a jerk because I'm going through a divorce. Boom, you can't touch that. Right? Like, we still have to own it. Or, hey, I'm allowed to treat my wife and my kids and everybody like crap because at work, I've got a lot of stress going on at work. Boom. You can't say anything because I've got that going on. We can't live there, but we have to have that type of honesty and transparency and the willingness to change and to say that I'm sorry and to own our shortcomings. If you're like me, you probably live a stressful life, but you probably love it. You probably embrace the grind and the work and the challenges, but you also struggle, I'm sure, like I do. You have those moments of a 16-year-old driver when you're on a conference call. And let me encourage you that if you apply these principles we just talked about, being vulnerable, being honest, being open, being transparent, being willing to apologize, understanding, that this side of your life affects this side of your life. If you can take that, apply that today, I know that it's going to help you in your businesses and in your relationships. I'm Devin, and this is Whiteboard Entrepreneur.